So first we're gonna hit Shift A, search for mesh icosphere, go to subdivisions and make it to 5, right click and shade smooth. Then we're gonna want to select our camera here, go to the focal length, switch to a 102. This will give us a nice view of our sphere. Then we're gonna switch to rendered preview, use our drop down and uncheck scene world right here. Then head over to the shading workspace. You can set this up however you like, but just make sure you go to your rendered preview and uncheck scene world again. And you can go to camera view or you can pan around in the viewport. Then select your icosphere, add a new material, and we'll be calling this one tongue. Then to get started, we're going to hit Shift A, search for a Voronoi texture. Now that we have that, we're going to make sure we have the Node Wrangler add-on checked in our preferences. So just edit preferences and search for Node Wrangler, and we'll be good to go. So then we can just select the Voronoi and hit Control T, move object to vector. Then we Control Shift and left click on the Voronoi texture to get a preview. And then we'll switch the scale on this guy to a 75, like so. Next step is to make sure this Voronoi isn't too contrasty. So we're going to hit Shift A, add a color ramp. And on the value for the white, we will switch that to a 0.5 on the value scale. Like that. This is just basically saying that we don't want there to be too much height going on in our bump when we factor that in. But before we add in the bump, we're going to hit Shift A and we're going to add in the color. So we're going to add another color ramp in front of this color ramp right here, just right there. Then we're going to go to the black and we're going to put in a reddish pink value. And I'll give you the exact text value really quickly. That is going to be an E76 F5F. So E76 F5F. And that'll give us this pink color. Then we can go to the other hex value, and that is going to be a B43 D2D. And once again, that is a B43 D2D. And that gives us this red. Obviously, we can play with these and darken them and stuff as we choose, but for this tutorial, we'll be using these exact values. Then we're going to take this color and simply plug it into the base color of the principled shader. And now we'll be adding the bump. So we'll hit Shift A, search for a bump node right here. Take the color from this color ramp, put it into the height, switch the strength to a 0.1, and plug the normal from this bump into the normal of the principled shader. And if we preview the shader by Control Shift and left clicking, we can see what we've got going on here. As we can see, it's a bit too rough right now, so we're going to be adding in a roughness map. To do that, we'll hit Shift A, search for a noise texture, like this. And then we'll plug the vector from the mapping into the vector of the noise texture. Change the detail to a 15 and the roughness to a 0.633. Control Shift to left click, and we can see what's going on. Then we'll hit Shift A, search for a color ramp, like this. Then on the white, once again, we're going to switch this to a 0.5. Same as the other color ramp. Then we'll just simply take this color and plug it into the roughness, and then Control Shift and left click on our shader. And we have our finished tongue material. Now, a few tricks just in case you run into any problems. So if you think it's just too one-dimensional in the color, you can always drag the darker in and get some more contrast going. That's something you can do there. Something else you can do is, say you have a normal size tongue, say you scale it down, have something like this. Let's go back to a zoom in view, and then we Control A, apply rotation and scale, and it's starting to look something like this, and you're like, whoa, this is not like a tongue, this is not what I want. Then all you have to do is go over here to the scale on this mapping node. You can select all these by holding left click and scrolling down. You're not actually scrolling, but you're moving your mouse in the downward direction. Then you can switch the scale to something like a 20, and then you have the material all set up for you. So, and if you need multiple versions of the same scene, all you have to do is hit this duplicate button right here, and it makes another version of the tongue. So this will make tongue 2, etc. So now that you've done that, this material is completely finished, and you are good to go. Put it in your scene. Hopefully you enjoyed this material, and come back if you have any future materials that you want, and comment down below if there's a material that you haven't seen on YouTube that you don't know how to make but want to be able to make, and I'll figure out a way to make it. So I'll see you in the next one.